It was the night the stars vanished. I had never seen such darkness blanket our land. It was as if the sky had closed its eyes, leaving us all in shadow. The forest, usually alive with the songs of birds and the rustling of leaves, was eerily quiet. Even the great baobab tree at the village center stood silent, its branches still against the wind. The elders gathered around the fire, their faces lit by its warm glow. I was among them, young and eager to hear what would come next. But tonight was different. There was a tension in the air, a thick silence that made my skin prickle. Something was wrong, and we all felt it deep in our bones. Then came the whispers. They spoke of a disturbance in the balance of the world, a ripple that had reached even our sacred forest. Some said it was the work of an ancient spirit. Others feared a god from another realm was meddling in our land. I could hardly believe what I heard. Odin, the all-seeing god from a distant world, was seeking something here. Just as our whispers grew frantic, a figure emerged from the darkness. It was Anansi, the trickster of our village. His eyes, always gleaming with mischief, now held a sharp glint of purpose. He approached the fire, hands folded behind his back, his small frame casting long shadows on the ground. "I have heard the whispers," he began, his voice clear and unshaken, "and I have felt the disturbance. This Odin, the one they speak of, has reached across the realms, seeking wisdom from our land." The elders exchanged uneasy glances. I watched them, my heart racing. Anansi, small and wiry, was known for his cunning and tricks, but this was no ordinary challenge. Odin was a god, a being of immense power and wisdom. How could Anansi, the trickster of tales, hope to stand against such a force? Anansi seemed to read our doubts. His lips curled into a grin as he continued. "You think me a fool to confront him? Yes, but listen well, wisdom is not just in knowing, it is in storytelling, in weaving truths that capture even the gods." The air grew still as we absorbed his words. Then he raised his hand and pointed toward the stars, or rather, where they should have been. "I will go to Odin's realm," he declared, "and I will teach him that some truths cannot be stolen, they must be earned." I gasped. "You will go to Asgard," I blurted, my voice betraying the fear that gripped my heart. Anansi turned his gaze to me, his eyes twinkling. "Yes, child, I will climb the web of stories to reach Asgard, and I will return with tales unlike any you have ever heard." With that, he turned and began his preparations. The elders fell silent, pondering the trickster's bold plan. As for me, I could barely contain my excitement. I knew this would be a journey unlike any other. Little did I know how right I was. The next morning, the village gathered near the edge of the forest. Anansi stood before us, his small frame dwarfed by the great baobab tree. In his hands, he held a silken thread, shimmering in the morning light. It was unlike any thread I had seen, a weave of colors that seemed to shift and dance like water. "This," Anansi explained, holding the thread high, "is the web of stories. It will carry me to Odin's realm, for it is made of tales from all corners of the world." We watched in awe as he began to spin the web, casting it upwards into the sky. The thread wove itself into a vast web, reaching far above the treetops and disappearing into the clouds. Anansi climbed swiftly, his hands and feet moving gracefully along the silken strands. I felt a mix of fear and admiration as I watched him ascend. Days turned into weeks, and we waited anxiously for news of Anansi. The forest seemed to hold its breath, the usual hum of life muted in anticipation. The nights grew darker, the stars still absent from the sky, as if they too were watching for the trickster's return. Then, one evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, a faint glimmer appeared above the treetops. My heart leapt as I recognized the shimmering threads of the web. Anansi was coming back. He descended gracefully, landing softly on the ground before us. His face was calm, but his eyes held a look I had never seen before, a mixture of triumph and caution. He had seen something in Asgard, something profound. "I met Odin," Anansi began, his voice carrying a tone of gravity that made my heart skip a beat. "He is not like the stories say. He is wise, yes, but he is also curious and hungry for knowledge. He has challenged me, and through me, our land." The villagers leaned in, hanging on his every word. "Odin wishes to test our wisdom," Anansi continued. "He demands a contest beneath the roots of Yggdrasil, the world tree. If I win, he will leave our land and its secrets untouched. But if I lose..." He paused, letting the weight of his words settle upon us. The forest around us seemed to darken, the air growing heavy with anticipation. If I lose, Anansi said slowly, Odin would take the knowledge of our stories and bind it to his realm forever. I shivered. This was not just a simple challenge. It was a battle for the soul of our stories, for the wisdom that had been passed down through generations. I will go with you, I found myself saying before I could stop. Anansi glanced at me, a flicker of surprise crossing his face. Very well, he nodded. You shall be my witness. With that, we set off, climbing the web of stories once more. The journey to Asgard was unlike anything I had ever experienced. The web carried us through skies that shifted from blue to gold to the deep purples of twilight. Below us, the world changed. Forests gave way to mountains. Rivers turned to streams of light. And finally, we crossed into the realm of the gods.